Me and him could have the same parent that's an alcoholic. I could end up an alcoholic. He's going to decide he's never going to drink alcohol in his life because of the same experiences that he went through. But that doesn't mean that we didn't get programming. But more than not, you're going to end up an alcoholic than not an alcoholic like him. There's a greater chance that you're going to end up like me than you're going to end up like him.
But see, I think this is where
who is doing the program?
I think this is where we differed last time, right? Up to a sense. If you want to call it programming, I want to call it upbringing, stimuli, whatever, environment. But up to a point where I think it's to an establishment level, in the way that you're kind of proposing it.
Okay. Well, I'll let it get there at a different point. Do you guys have anything you want to add, since you're kind of new to the fray, on your thoughts of programming and who you think is doing the programming, if you believe or if you don't believe there's programming?
Well, I definitely agree with a lot that you were saying about, like, the different levels of programming, because I know, like, personally for me, like, I've seen the programming of, like, in your household, like, your parents, how they raise you, whatever, and then, obviously you have the schools and then the higher levels than that. But, like, just speaking for me personally, like, I know the programming in, like, my house, like, my parents, they have certain values and ideals, and those values and ideals, they want their kids to, follow in those footsteps. That's, like, the path that they're laying for you. And obviously, like, everyone is different, and although it might be the same stuff going into them, like, how it's given to them is different as the kids go. So although it's the same program, some people receive that program in different ways, and that kind of also affects how they receive it. And then, like, with schools, I know when I was younger, I was in, like, one of the magnet schools, so it's different than, like, the public school. We're on, like, different calendar, and, like, the teaching, how they emphasize stuff, like, it's different than what, someone else would be getting. And not that it's specifically supposed to be programmed that way, like, obviously that's their intention, but it's like, because of where I come from, like, I'm able to access that, and my parents are looking for the best way to, give me the information that I need to get. So
where do you go to school?
Right now I go to Ohio State University, the Ohio State University.
Man. And
well done, sir.
So you have a book that got published, right?
Yeah.
What age is that? How old are you?
I think I was 13. It was like the end of my 7th grade year.
Okay. And there's a lot of other things I could rattle off, but that's not the point of this. Do you think that was by chance that those things happened? Or do you think that my sister helped program you to do a lot of the things that you accomplished?
I will definitely
be honest. Keep it real.
I definitely have to say that it's not by chance. It goes almost entirely into, like, that's how my mom programmed me and has programmed us, because
your programmed to use program. You said program like 30 times.
It is. This is what it is. We are programmed. Some people believe it, but some people don't.
But for me, well, when she was a kid, she had a lot of accolades. There's a lot of big things that she was doing, and then there's things that she's learned over her life that she's like, had I done this when I was younger, like, this is where I could be. Right. And so for her, it's like, I know all of this now, like, let me give this information to my kids. Absolutely. So that way they can do what I couldn't do back then, because I didn't know this. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'll get into, like, an issue I kind of see with that later, but with that, it's like, so for me, in 5th grade, I got Incredible Kid of the Year award in, like, Central Texas or something like that. And then my teacher that I had nominated me for a leadership conference, and that's kind of where the whole book came from. I had gone to that conference. I was invited to another one, and my parents told me that, like, I had to pay for it on my own. So I'm like, how am I going to make that kind of money? And because of what I had been taught in my writing skills, I decided I'd write a book. And so that's kind of where it came from. So you had me
pretty
writing the book at 13. Then you have
To
my
make money.
sister under me. She wrote a book when she was like 9, I think.
His sister's book is the reason why I was able to write a book. So a 9-year-old programmed me
Oh my God.
to be able to do the things that I needed to do to accomplish stuff as a grown man. Okay.
But yeah, so you have me writing the book at 13, then my sister writes a book at 9. Now we have my sister Anna. She has a cupcake business.
Oh, cupcakes are delicious.
And she's 13 now, but I think she's been doing this for almost maybe a year or something around that.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it's just stuff like that most kids, most families that you would see, like,
And
they're
none
not
of it is
doing
by chance.
stuff like
Trust
that
me,
at
I
that
watch
age.
it go down.
I mean, you have the few here and there, but it's just not something you see often.
I like the fact your parents didn't tell you, no, you're not going to get a book published. You know, that's awesome.
That's what I was thinking. How many parents would back that?
My dad would tell me to go get a lawnmower.
Yeah. Go deliver
It's all,
newspapers.
but it's not. It's all programming. If you knew how my sister was programmed from when her nickname as a black African American from Nigeria woman, her nickname was Mr. President from my dad. I don't know if the stats are correct. I may mess up because it's crazy anyway. I think she was a double major, double minor. I don't even know if that's possible. Yeah. Law degree, you know what I mean? So it's like her mentality didn't come from randomness. And I've noticed this in so many other people. And then I've noticed that now intentionally they're making people stupid. And us as the overseers above the next generation, because I have a 7-year-old, are not taking the time, because we've also been programmed to do so many other things that keep us busy, to not focus on the next generation. But I'm not gonna get too deep. What are you thinking?
No, I mean, I'm agreeing with so much what I'm hearing, but at the same time, it's like I feel like we're just talking about different things. Like what you're calling programming is what your family accomplished. First of all, that story is like, damn, I failed. You know what I mean? Like, well done. No, like that. So you're right. Somebody said, parents want to see the best out of their children, so but everything in life is a program at that point. Religion is a program. Everything, school.
And
I don't
think
care
that's
if it's
the point
public or
that
private.
he's-
Whatever they're teaching, there's something behind it. Why is it that they're teaching that? I'm 39 years old. I just found out like 4 years ago that the globe that I always just took to be the globe was horribly inaccurate as far as like depicting like what the world actually looks like. And you're
Absolutely.
like, so when you start thinking about it on that level, then yeah, I'm with you that there's programming being done, and it is a mass mind control kind of thing. But I don't think if it is coming from the computer side, then game over. We lost because they'll win. But I think it's from a human side, and I think that's.
But that's what I'm saying.
Well,
It's on the human side
Yeah.
as far as relations. It's not to take
See,
away.
those are two
Hold on,
different
hold on, hold on.
things.
It's
It's two
not to-
different things. I'm not going to stop you, but there's two different things. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's not to take away from what you can instill in others, right? I.e. your parents, i.e. your parents, i.e. my parents, i.e. everyone's parents, the neighborhood you grew up in. But again, when it goes to that grandiose scale, is where for me I'm like, look, you can't give me any facts. Yeah, I can say that my mom made an imprint on me. You can all say that as well, but you can't tell me that like just because I grew up in America, I look at it a certain way. My experiences may have had a different, impact, but it's like I just don't think it's like more of a sinister aspect.
But why can't you say that? Because if you think about it, like China and the education system and how things are there, like just how, and let me not say like Chinese specific, but like Asian kids in general. But if you look at how they approach like school and learning and stuff, and the importance they see in that, like compared to American kids, where it's like, oh, I don't want
It's
to
not
do this. This is
random.
a waste of my time.
Yeah, but
like,
that's also cultural. Same with
But-
Nigeria.
That's
but then
cultural
it's just
programming.
It's just
That's
they're all-
cultural
It's just a different term,
programming.
a different way for the same thing.
Okay.
All you
Okay,
left out was
okay.
programming. You
No,
said
no.
cultural. You just left out the other word. They didn't just cultural like pixie dust. They culturally programmed them, and that's why their culture is
So,
different than
Look,
our culture.
Maybe then what I can say is I'm not comfortable with the word programming because it seems as though it's like, again, something that is literally injected in you.
And it's
Yes,
a word.
hold on. Yes, your culture is one thing, but again, it's not like you're on a blanket scale. You know what I mean? It's not, again, yeah, Chinese people have their own, attributes, but it's not to say that each single person from each single province or each single area is exactly the same because they're programmed by the Chinese government.
There'll
That's
be
not, no. When you want to say, but when you want to say program,
I'm
because
not-
program sounds
no,
generic. But
but
no.
you're
If you want to, hold
trying to
on.
box it in, and
Let
I've
me
never
finish,
tried to box it in.
No, wait. Because
I've
I'm
never
gonna-
tried to
We're
box
not
it in.
necessarily
You're
like
boxing
making
it in.
no.
style. You
Yeah,
know what I
it's
mean?
not an assembly line where every Ford
But
truck
it's,
is a
it's the thought,
Tacoma or
the
whatever
way
the
that
frick
you
they're
think,
called.
the way that you think, why you think what you think. That's the programming, and you think it's free will. You think it's your own thoughts because you've gathered this information and this information and this information. But that information that you brought in, you were programmed to think the way you did. You didn't come to that conclusion on your own.
You didn't.
It was
You did not.
taught
And it
to
was
you.
from the government. Or was it from
I'm
your
not
folks?
saying this from the
But
government.
no, that's what I'm saying. No.
There's different-
No,
there's
you're
different
right. No,
levels.
but that's what I'm saying. It's
Well,
not like
now
I
we're
woke up
getting
and
into
just.
okay. Well, I'm glad you
No,
said
no,
that.
but again,
hold on. I'm glad you brought that up because you just asked the next question. Who is doing the program?
That's what I'm saying. It's not like I'm saying I just woke up and was like, yeah, this is
I
me.
go with
I
that.
have my.
So
If you
you
guys
answer,
want to
you
know my
say-
answer, I can give it to you right now. But I can let you guys go first.
No, you go first,
Yeah,
please.
go.
You thought you gonna slide out of
No, trust me.
Get it.
I've been ready for this a long time coming, man.
I think we're gonna
Well,
be
the
really
time has
close.
come.
That's why I'm excited to hear what you
and
have to say.
I mean, we're all the way there at this point. RICH.
Yeah.
I can second that.
And it's so elite. I think it's not even just the random like you've
Look back to the books that you guys read when you were in school when they talked about Parliament and all these other different things that were going on. And what were they talking about the rebellions were about? That the people who were in the elite were doing this and doing this and doing that. It's always going to be about money. I didn't want to go this fast, but we're here. It's always going to be about money. Every man, and I don't want to say every, because I haven't gone through all of them, but the majority of man-made issues and the reason for programming or the reason for evil or the reason that we have hurt is because of money. And if you guys want to really start delving into it, you can bring up each topic and we can pull it out. And I'll tell you at the end of the day, there's going to be a money sign at the end of it. And that's
For sure.
why we are being programmed. We are going to eliminate ourselves eventually because if
So hold on, elaborate. That's why we're being programmed. We're being programmed to do what?